The girl who returned from the dead. It was a normal day, just like any other. My wife, Amy, and I had just finished dinner. Then we heard a sound from the door, like someone was turning the doorknob. Then, 3 loud knocks. I was surprised. Who tries to open the door before knocking? I got up and walked to the door. In my mind, I thought it must be my brother. He always does that. But it was Saturday night, very late. Why would he come? From inside, I couldn't tell, but as I got closer to the door, I knew it was raining hard outside. I quickly opened the door. She was standing there, covered in rain and mud. My heart jumped. "Hi, Dad," Sarah said. Her face was wet from the rain, but I could see she was crying. Her tears were clear even in the rain. "Dad, can I come in? I'm cold." Then I heard something fall in the kitchen, and quick footsteps. I hugged my daughter tightly. "Oh, Sarah, my girl, you're here." 9 years ago, we told the police our daughter was missing. We told them we put her to sleep in her room, like every night. But in the morning, she wasn't there. The police looked and found her window was open. But Amy and we didn't hear anything that night. No one came in. Our neighbors didn't hear or see anything either. Then, a big search started in our small town. Our town was small and peaceful. There was almost no crime. So a 13-year-old girl disappearing like that spread fast. It was on TV and in the newspapers. But we never found our sweet girl. We even looked in other towns, but still nothing. I picked her up and carried her inside. I felt her tears on my neck. Amy, my wife, came too when we went inside. She screamed when she saw Sarah. Then she hugged Sarah. 9 years later, we 3 hugged each other. "Sarah, are you okay?" Amy asked. "No, Mom," Sarah said, crying. "I don't know what happened. My eyes opened, and it was dark. I walked here somehow. I don't know that place, Mom. Only jungle everywhere. I just walked." I made her sit down and looked at her. Her hair was so long. Maybe it hadn't been cut since the night we lost her. Her clothes were old and dirty, like a beggar's. "Come, take a bath now. You must be hungry, right? I'll make some food," Amy said. "Mom, I want a sandwich," Sarah said. Amy hugged her again, crying. "I can't believe you're back." Then we gave Sarah some of her old clothes. We had kept some bigger sizes. I promised her I'd buy new clothes tomorrow. We sat for a long time, laughing and crying. Many hours passed. Amy and I couldn't believe Sarah was back. And she didn't remember anything from that night. People say everything happens for a reason. Maybe this was good too. We had a room, my office. I promised to move my things tomorrow. Then we put her to sleep. But I couldn't sleep. I sat in the hall, a cigarette in one hand, a glass of whiskey in the other. Then Amy came out quietly too, closing Sarah's room door. After 2 minutes of silence, Amy asked me, "What do we do now?" Her voice sounded scared. I lowered my head and took a deep breath. "I don't know. It's good she remembers nothing." "Do you think she really remembers nothing?" Amy said. "Quiet," I said. "It's not good to talk now." We were both quiet. But the questions in our heads were very loud. Amy also poured herself a drink. She drank and said, "Do you think she hears us?" "No, I don't think so. But I could be wrong. I've made many mistakes before. And look what happened to us." We sat there quietly. But one thing was on our minds. How did Sarah disappear that night? And how did we lie to the police, to the news, to everyone? So many perfect lies. So much drama. It took us many months for our lives to become normal again. This was hard. But it was even harder to keep this secret from Sarah. This plan took us a year. To get our neighbors to help us. To keep everything secret. That was really hard. She will find out one day. She will know the truth. She will remember everything. Amy said. I said nothing. But I knew Amy was right. 9 years ago, my wife and we killed our only daughter. The same daughter who is now back after 9 years, sleeping in her room. After we killed her, we left that town. We moved to a new town for a new life. We told no one about this house. No friends, no family, no neighbors. I never put the new address on the bank or any papers. And still, Sarah found us. We didn't want to do this. We didn't want to kill Sarah. For years, we just thought everything would be okay. Time would heal. But then after what happened with Kevin, we knew time changes nothing. And not just for our safety, but for other people too, we had to do it. Sitting on the sofa by the window, I smoked a cigarette, watching the dark sky. But I couldn't think of anything else. Sarah was such a sweet and smart girl. She was our first child. So after she was born, our lives were all about her. At work, I just waited for evening to go home and hold my doll. When we went out, we always bought a new toy for her. She was so cute. She put a spell on us. So we felt strange when people saw her and just walked away. When Sarah was born, her grandmas came to see her. Both were happy for their grandchild. But why, after meeting Sarah, did they not stay even for an hour? They held Sarah for only 5 minutes. When we went out, people didn't even look at our doll. No one ever said, "Your daughter is so cute." At first, we didn't notice. Yes, how my mom and her grandma left the house quickly, that hurt us. But then we saw how people acted, even our neighbors stopped coming to our house. Slowly, we understood everything. The truth was, wherever Sarah was, people just went away. But we still didn't understand why. She was such a cute little girl. We took her to the doctor for checkups. But doctors and nurses always hurried. We even asked, "Why do you do this to our daughter? You don't check her properly." The doctor said, "No, just many patients, so we rush." At first, we felt bad. But then Amy and I decided, to hell with the world. If they don't like our daughter, so what? To us, she was a piece of our heart. But then at 3 years old, we also understood something strange about Sarah. People didn't like her, we knew that. But now we understood why they didn't like her. If you're ever with small kids, you know even good kids sometimes cause trouble. They want to do things you tell them not to. They want to do things themselves. No one holds their hand, no one stops them. Same problem with Sarah. Anything we said or told her not to do, she would do it. This was fine. But then she started to know what we were going to say or do before we did it. Like one evening, Amy and I were talking about what to make for dinner. I was about to say, "Let's make chicken." But before I could open my mouth, Sarah ran there and said, "Dad, I don't want chicken." I was so surprised. How did she know what I was going to say? After this, it happened often. If we thought something, or were about to do something, Sarah knew it before. Like once, I was working on my car and needed a tool. I thought to myself about calling my wife. Then Sarah came there, tool in hand. "Here, Dad. You need this, right?" I don't know how she knew everything beforehand. Like she had superpowers. These last few days since Sarah came back have been our hardest. We tried everything to be the parents she remembered. Not the ones who killed her and left her in the desert. And the hardest part was acting happy she was back. We couldn't let her think we weren't happy. If she accidentally remembered what we did to her, who knows what would happen. Sarah told us she only remembered dinner with us that night. We made her favorite dish. Then she went to her room to sleep. After that, she didn't remember anything. Then her eyes opened, and she was in a dark desert. She just walked straight to here. How she got this house address, she doesn't say. We also don't ask. We don't want her to remember anything. We never left Sarah alone in the house. Always one of us was with her. But with her, there was always that strange fear. The fear that made no one come near her. Even when she slept in the house, it felt like something bad was going to happen. Always that strange fear. Now she's been home for 5 days. I haven't slept well for 5 nights. My eyes were tired, so that night, when I lay on the bed, I fell asleep fast. But not for long. My eyes opened to a loud noise. Amy also woke up. At first, we didn't know where the noise came from. We looked around our bedroom. Then, the noise again. The noise came from Sarah's room. At that moment, I remembered that night when Sarah was 10. One night, like this, we woke up. Someone threw stones at Sarah's window. We asked Sarah who did it. She said she didn't know. But we thought she had a fight with the kids nearby. Maybe that's why they did it. Again, a loud noise. A noise like someone hitting a wall hard. We quickly got up and ran to her room. But before opening the door, we both stopped. We both knew anything could be on the other side of the door. The noise came again. This time, I quickly opened the door and turned on the light. I saw Sarah wasn't on her bed. She was standing near the wall. The wall between her room and ours. And there was a strange smile on her face. Her face was so tight, veins popped out. Her face was red. Her eyes had no life in them. I started to walk to her, then she hit her head hard on the wall. The noise came again. Sarah, what are you doing? I didn't finish my sentence. She started to hit her head hard on the wall again and again. I ran to her, picked her up, and put her on the bed. She looked like she was asleep. When I put her on the bed and looked in her eyes started to become normal. For a short moment, I felt like I was looking into the eyes of my little girl that I brought home for the first time after she was born. Past moments, I remembered, a strange fear in my heart. From that first day until now, I don't know how this all happened. But then I remembered what happened to poor Kevin. And then for many weeks, what happened, this is why we did the sin we did. Dad, my head hurts, she said softly. What were you doing, sweetie? I asked. Dad, I want to take out everything. Take out what, sweetie? Memories, Dad. I want to take out all memories. Hearing Sarah, I was quiet. I didn't know what memories she was talking about. Like I told you before, Sarah wasn't a normal girl. She had superpowers. Powers that grew as she got older. At first, she only read our minds. But then slowly, she did many more things. When Sarah was 6, one evening, I was sitting in the hall, watching TV. Then a loud scream came from the kitchen from my wife. I quickly ran to the kitchen. I saw her standing on a stool in the corner, very scared. I asked what happened. She said, a rat. Here, under the table, a rat. Hearing her, I laughed. Oh, just that? Wait, I'll put a mousetrap. I took one step, and she screamed again. The rat ran out from under the table. But before I could do anything, the rat stopped running by itself, like someone hit a pause button. It was in the middle of the air. I bent down to see what happened to the rat. Then I saw Sarah standing at the kitchen door. She stared at the rat. The rat was dead. Suddenly, while running. Dad, now this rat will never bother Mom. She said innocently. Sarah, yes, Dad. I killed it. It bothered Mom, right, Dad? Hearing her, I couldn't believe how this happened. Mom, don't be scared. Like I finished all the lizards in the house, right? Same, now you don't need to be scared of any rat. At that moment, I remembered that before, we had many lizards in our house. But in the last few days, no lizards were seen. Sarah had killed all the lizards. After that rat incident, we understood well that Sarah wasn't a normal girl. And her superpowers were growing with time. So now Amy and I took more care of Sarah. We taught her what was right and what was wrong. She also started to understand that hurting someone was not good. And taking someone's life was very wrong. We made her promise she would never do anything like she did with the rat again. And she would always use her powers for good things, not to harm anyone. We still didn't know what else she could do. So we always gave her good examples. This was hard for us. But we only hoped she would listen to us and not do anything without asking us. Also, as I told you, she could read our minds. So we sometimes played games with her and asked her to guess what we were thinking. This way, we tried to keep her busy. This also helped us know how much she could read our minds. Slowly, Amy and I understood she could read our minds, but only what we were thinking at that moment. If there was something we didn't want her to know, when she came, we would hum a song to ourselves. And because of this, we lived for many years. But outside our house, things were different for Sarah. Very few people, almost no one, liked to talk to her or come near her. Everyone felt a strange fear when they were near her. This went on for years. But finally, one of our neighbors started to come to our house. Mr. Harrison, 70 years old, lived in the house across from us. He spent all day taking care of his plants. In our whole neighborhood, he was the first person who talked to Sarah. His wife had died 3 years ago. His kids all lived in another city. He lived alone, with no one to talk to. So we didn't feel strange seeing him talk to Sarah. But like all our neighbors, Mr. Harrison never came inside our house. Even for birthday parties or festivals, no one came to our house. But sometimes when Sarah was playing in the yard, Mr. Harrison would bring her chocolates and chips. He would stand outside the yard for some time, talk to her, then after a few minutes, go back to his yard and work on his plants. And if Mr. Harrison's friendship with Sarah hadn't happened, we would never know what happened with Lucky. Lucky was a pit bull dog living in our neighborhood, someone's pet. The neighborhood kids didn't treat Sarah well. No one talked to her. Amy and I tried our best to tell her not to feel bad about the other kids. We told her she was cute and we loved her very much. But then at 8 to 9 years old, she also started to be smart. And at this age, having no friends is hard for a kid. Finally, Sarah also understood it was better for her to have no friends. She learned to be happy alone. Everything was going fine. Then one day, in October. It wasn't too cold, but cold winds started. It was Diwali time, so neighborhood kids were lighting firecrackers on the road. But Sarah never went to play with the kids. She enjoyed doing whatever she wanted in her house, which was good. Most kids in the neighborhood were good. But 3 boys were trouble for everyone: Mike, Kevin, and Ryan. These 3 were the worst boys in the neighborhood. If a window broke, it was their doing. If someone's yard was messed up, it was their doing. Sarah was also teased and bothered most by these 3 boys. They weren't boys, they were a pack of wolves. Always screaming, shouting, making noise, ready to bother everyone. It was a small Diwali day. Amy was working inside the house. I was in my office. Sarah, as always, was playing alone in the yard, making rangoli for Diwali outside our house gate. Then those 3 wolves came on their bikes, making noise, and stopped right in front of Sarah. "Hey crazy girl, what are you doing?" one of them said to Sarah. Sarah didn't answer. "Hey, crazy and deaf too? You don't hear?" Sarah again didn't answer. Now one boy got off his bike. He went to the rangoli, which Sarah had made with care. He peed on the rangoli and laughed loudly. Sarah quickly moved back. But those 3 weren't happy with just this. One of them had his pet pit bull dog, Lucky, with him. That dog was so dangerous, people were scared to walk past their house. Even delivery people didn't go to their house. That dog was always ready to bite and eat people. The dog had a chain on its neck. One boy held the chain. But even with the chain, he growled badly at Sarah, like he would eat her right now. Seeing this, the boy teased Sarah, "See, Lucky also doesn't like this crazy girl." Foam came from the dog's mouth. He was just ready to jump at Sarah. Lucky hasn't bitten anyone for a long time. Looks like today he'll bite someone. They scared Sarah. The dog pulled the chain with full power to attack Sarah. Mr. Harrison, who lived across the street, saw all this. But Sarah's face showed no fear. Instead of stepping back, Sarah stepped forward to the dog. "Hey crazy girl, what are you doing? Go back, he'll eat you." The boy quickly moved back and said. But Sarah's eyes had no fear. Her eyes had anger, like a killer's eyes. And she stared at the dog. The dog, heavier than her, tried with all his might to break the chain. And Sarah stared at him. And then the chain broke. But instead of jumping at Sarah, the dog ran to the other side of the road. And then from nowhere, a truck came fast and ran over the dog. That dangerous dog, Lucky, was crushed so badly under the truck, he turned to pulp. And the whole time, Sarah stared at him. Mr. Harrison told us all this later. Mr. Harrison told us he had talked to Sarah and seen her many times. But that look on her face, he himself was scared for a moment. As the dog died, a crowd gathered. But Sarah went straight inside the house. Amy also went out to see what the noise was about. The next day, Mr. Harrison came to our house and told us everything. He told us one more thing. He said before the dog died, he saw the dog's neck twist back in a strange, unnatural way. Just a few seconds ago, he was ready to tear Sarah apart. Then about a week later, Mr. Harrison was working in his yard and saw his most beautiful roses suddenly turn black. At that time, Sarah was standing at her bedroom window and looking at his yard. After that dog incident, Sarah didn't change a little, she changed completely. That angry and wild look that sometimes came on her face was now permanent. Yes, sometimes she was normal. This gave us comfort that our daughter was still with us. We took her to many therapists and doctors, hoping that with their help, she would fight those evil thoughts in her mind. Thoughts of harming people, killing people. And maybe our lovely only daughter would become normal. But instead of help from all those doctors, we got a list of strange diseases our daughter had: psychosis, bipolar disorder, depression, ADHD, schizophrenia. No doctor saw her more than 3 or 4 times and then sent her to a bigger doctor. Some time later, Amy and I accepted that medical treatment did nothing. This was not a disease cured by medicine. At this young age, she had no friends. Plus other kids always teased her. I saw Sarah shrink inside every moment. But we could do nothing. After the dog died, for some time those boys didn't bother Sarah. But kids don't remember things for long. Soon, other kids also started to bother Sarah. We tried everything to save our daughter from all this. I talked to her teacher. We told Sarah if anyone bothered her, to go straight to the teachers. We made her do yoga, hoping her mind would find some peace. But then we noticed many things in her school and neighborhood. In her school, whenever I went, I saw many kids with casts on their hands and legs. Someone's hand was broken, someone's leg. Not just school, but also in our neighborhood park where Sarah sometimes played. There too, we heard many kids had accidents. And all these kids were the ones who bothered Sarah, who teased her. It wasn't hard to understand what happened to them. There was no point asking Sarah about this. In front of her, we couldn't even think about it. Not because we didn't want to bother her, but the truth is, we ourselves were scared of her. What if something we said made her angry? And she did the same to us? Sometimes she was perfectly normal. But many times her temper was so high, even one wrong thought from us made her very angry. So seeing and understanding everything, we said nothing to her. In the next few months, all 3 boys who bothered her most, their hands and legs broke one by one. To be honest, I didn't feel sad for those 3 boys. If Sarah hadn't done this, one day I would have broken their bones. But this was still manageable. Then a few months later, Amy and I noticed one of those 3 boys, Kevin, was gone. The other 2 still sometimes made comments when Sarah was in the yard. But the 3rd boy, Kevin, who was always with them, suddenly disappeared. That dog Lucky was his pet. I was scared Sarah did something. But the problem was, I couldn't go directly to his house and ask. But then a few days later, we learned from our newspaper delivery man that they had moved out of their house and gone somewhere else. Suddenly, no one knew why they did this. They didn't tell anyone anything. Just one day, they took all their house stuff, locked the house, and left. No neighbor was sad they went. That man was a big addict. His wife was also very quarrelsome. Of course, their son was also a big devil like them. It was good they left our neighborhood. Then about 6 months later, the second boy, Ryan, his family also suddenly moved out of their house and left. No one knew about them either. Now the third boy, Mike, the worst of the three, was left alone to bother Sarah. We thought maybe after his 2 friends left, he would get better. But a dog's tail never straightens. Now that boy did more bad things. Actually, his father was a police officer. So he wasn't scared of anyone. Neighborhood people were also bothered by them, but no one said anything. And then one day, Thursday, November 14, 2019. Children's Day. Everyone in the neighborhood organized a program for kids. All the kids were doing their dances and singing. Food stalls, swings, many things were set up. But it was Sarah's habit, she never participated in such programs. After school, her time was either reading comic books or playing in the yard. So that day, we told her, okay, if you don't want to participate, don't. But come with us for a while. Amy and I wanted to see the kids' performances. And we didn't want to leave Sarah alone at home. She agreed to come. She also brought her book. We enjoyed the program for a few hours. Sarah was lost in her book the whole time. Then after the program, we went to the food stalls. We always tried to keep Sarah away from crowds. So when we went to eat, most people had already eaten and left. Only a few people were left. And then that boy Mike came. He was bad, but we didn't think he would dare to be rude in front of everyone. Hey crazy girl, what are you doing here? Who called you here? He shouted at Sarah from far away. Hearing him, I got very angry. Hey boy, go from here. Or I'll complain to your father. I shouted back. Shut up, old man. All of you are crazy. Looks like your whole family is crazy. That devil boy was so brave he said such things in front of everyone without fear or shame. I wanted to go and punch him. But Amy held my hand. Seeing me come forward, he got on his bike and rode away. Sarah watched him go. Are you okay, sweetie? Don't pay attention to him. I tried to calm Sarah. Yes, Dad, I'm okay. If he dies, I'll be more okay. Sarah said with a small smile. I said, no, 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 sweetie. Don't say that. He's also a kid. He'll be smart when he grows up. Sarah nodded. Good thing she didn't get too angry this time. Otherwise, who knows what would have happened. In a few minutes, we ate our food. After eating, we decided to eat ice cream too. Amy loves ice cream very much. So we took ice cream and walked and ate. But Sarah didn't want to walk. So for some time, she sat under a nearby tree, eating ice cream and reading her book. Amy and I walked a little ahead, talking. Thank God everything was okay. No trouble. Then from nowhere, a rocket firework flew and hit a tree right next to Amy. Hearing the rocket noise, we quickly looked. We saw the same boy Mike with many rockets in hand, firing them at Sarah. Maybe he thought Sarah was alone there. Before I could run to Sarah and protect her, that boy fired many rockets at Sarah, one after the other. Sarah's hair, her clothes, her book, all were filled with sparks from the rockets. And when the sparks settled, Sarah stood in a cloud of smoke. I got so angry. But I knew this anger was nothing compared to the anger Sarah felt now. And before I took one step towards Sarah, the rest of the rockets he held in his hand exploded by themselves. He screamed in pain and fell back. He stumbled and fell down. A few moments ago, the devilish look on his face now turned to fear. He screamed and ran away from there. Sarah ran after him. I shouted, "Sarah, no. Stop." I tried to stop her. But I knew today something was going to happen. Today his bad deeds were full. Both kids ran very fast, and I couldn't match their speed. That park was also very big. And running, they went to the ground behind the park. A few seconds later, I also reached Sarah. I was scared maybe that boy's dead body was there. But Sarah stood alone. For a moment, I felt relief. Thank God that boy ran away. I asked, "Sarah, where is Mike? Where did he go?" Her face showed no expression. She said nothing. So I looked around. There were footprints of that boy on the park ground. But those footprints suddenly disappeared at one spot. "Sarah, what did you do with Mike?" She said nothing. "Sarah, tell me," I asked, holding her hand. But then Amy also reached there from behind and took my hand from Sarah. Sarah's face had a blank expression, like a doll. "I don't know where that boy went." His footsteps disappeared from the ground suddenly. "Where did he go?" After this, I sent Sarah home with Amy. But I searched for that boy for the next 2 hours. But he was nowhere. After going home, I also asked Sarah about him. But she didn't say a word about it. Not that night, not ever. After coming home, I was scared the police would come to our house and ask about that boy being gone. News channels would come here. And who knows what else. But nothing happened. No news reporter came. No police came. Everything was so quiet, like nothing happened. But I still felt that today or tomorrow, something would happen for sure. But nothing happened. 2 weeks passed like this. When I heard nothing from anywhere, finally, I decided to talk to that boy's father myself. Even though he was a police officer and didn't talk much to anyone. But I had to do this. So one Sunday morning, I went to his house. I went there and saw him washing his car outside his house. I couldn't get a better chance to talk to him. I went near him. He knew me. "Hello, brother. Washing the car today?" I started to talk. "Oh, hello, hello. Yes, today's a holiday, so I thought I'd wash the car." He smiled and said. For a moment, I was so surprised how nicely he talked today. "Yes, I wanted to ask about Mike. Mike hasn't been seen these days. Did he go to the village?" My heart pounded when I asked this. I didn't know what he would say. "What? Who are you talking about?" His face was confused. I said, "Mike, your son. Sarah and Mike, both are the same age, right?" He looked at me strangely. And hearing me, he laughed and said, "I have no son." "What are you talking about? Are you okay?" he said. I didn't know what to say. My throat was dry from fear. I think I'm confused. Sorry. I'll go home now." Saying this, I started to leave. My mind stopped working. Was this man crazy? What did he mean he had no son? The whole neighborhood knew about his son. After Sarah slept at night, I told Amy about this. And then we realized Sarah did something very bad. Sarah didn't kill that boy. But she made him disappear from this world. His whole existence was gone. We tried to talk to Sarah about this. But that was the day our daughter moved away from us right before our eyes. Her eyes now had no love, no innocence, no life. Empty eyes. Our daughter became a living dead body right before our eyes. We tried everything to talk to her, hoping to get our daughter back. But she didn't talk to us. We asked her many times about Mike. But every time, she only said, "I sent him back." She never said she killed Mike or took his life. She just said he never comes back. She already talked very little to us. But now she completely stopped talking. She always stayed in her room. Even for dinner at night, we had to call her with great difficulty.